So the Really Good Podcast is back once again, and today we had Cyclismo. Finally, a mountain stage that delivers. Only one mountain, but what a mountain, Taylor.
Mont Ventoux, an absolute thriller of a stage on a thriller of a climb. And we had battles all over the road, but it all started with the breakaway battle and Niels Pollitt getting a little bit hot under the collar. Now, I will not lie to you. I've had jobs to do today, and I only caught the climb in its entirety, but thank you I did, because it was a banger of a stage. But do you know any of what happened early on? Because I've heard Pollitt was getting a bit irate with breakaway formation.
Oh, no, I'm not sure. I mostly heard about Visma getting riders up there, and UAE didn't want to allow them to do it. They kept following every attack, and they were sort of just sitting at the back of the group, not really working, but also trying to like neutralize each other basically in the breakaway. That's what I mostly saw happening. I didn't see much apart from that. But there were attacks all over the place on the entire way to the Ventoux. And it was a bit of a mess of a breakaway formation, but to be expected on this kind of stage, I guess.
Yeah, you have basically sort of 130 kilometers of flat road, and then you have the gradual rise, and then the climb of Ventoux starts. We're in the final 15 kilometers, and it is just that climb. So we had an intermediate sprint, which ended up going to the breakaway on the points classification. Jonas Abrahamsson won that. Simone Velasco was second. Thank you very much for my fantasy team, I'm saying. But we'll get to that later. That was the points ranking.
And for that, we saw Milan and Gourmet trying to get up, but they were way too late. I think the breakaway already had like a minute and a half or two when they tried to escape, and we were thinking like, why? But you're not going to make up there in time. And they ended up giving up as well. So no points for Milan.
But yeah, I'll go through some of the names in the that we had in the breakaway. Visma Lease Bike had both Victor Campenaerts and Tish Benoit up there. UAE Team Emirates did have Pavel Sivakov in the breakaway, so they did have somebody up there, but maybe not as many as they'd hoped for compared to Visma Lease Bike. Other riders involved in the break, of course, Simone Velasco, my guy. Zadra Merita for Alpecin de Koning, Team Ahrensman for Ineos Grenadiers, Gregor Mühlberger, Alaphilippe, Mas. So it was a good breakaway with some good climbing guys. And most importantly, in the general classification, Ben Healy.
Oh yeah.
The 10th placed rider in GC getting into the breakaway, and Ineos Grenadiers do not react.
He's back once again. Honestly, I enjoy watching Ben Healy. I didn't know him too well before the tour started, but his riding style it's just fun to watch. It seems like he rides on vibes. He's like, okay, I'm at tag now. I'm just going. I don't really care. So, man, I'm glad to see him up there, honestly.
But approaching the Ventoux climb, you had a Fuga della Fuga in the breakaway, a breakaway from the breakaway. And that consisted of Jonas Abrahamsson, Simone Velasco, Enric Mas, Team Ahrensman, and I think a couple of others were in there as well, Julian Alaphilippe being one of them. So they started the climb with a brief advantage on the rest of the breakaway, but at the end of the day, it was all about who had the best legs on the climb, and eventually you got to an elite group of breakaway riders.
Yep. We had, first we had, Enric Mas escaping. He getting he got like a minute or two roughly at some point to the guys behind him. Which at that point I was thinking, okay, well, it seems like he's going pretty fast and he's got good power on his legs. But behind him was we had Arnsman, Pau Pendre, Ben Healy, Buitrago, and a couple others as well, who were definitely not going slow.
Exactly. And eventually Mas attacked the group of Alaphilippe and Team Ahrensman early on. And what you had then was the Ben Healy group. Ben Healy starting to get a little bit irate with GC positions and, him pulling for GC, but other riders not pulling for the stage. And Healy was starting to get a little bit troubled by that. the likes of Valentin Paris-Pantra, Santiago Buitrago as well. But Paris-Pantra, Healy and Buitrago made it to Enric Mas towards the top of Ventoux. And I think we'll discuss the breakaway battle before we head into what happened in general classification, because it was very entertaining, them just sweeping over the road all of the time and slowing down towards the top of Ventoux. But then a bit of divine intervention came. From the top rope came Enric Mas and Buitrago back to Ben Healy and Paris-Pantra. But from even further back, the Remco Domestique turned hero for Soudal Quickstep, Ilan van Wilder, keeping the pace up, keeping the GC guys behind, and setting up Valentin Paris-Pantra, who followed the wheel of Healy, who started the sprint, and got around him for the French stage win that we come to expect at this Tour de France, but doesn't happen very often. Valentin Paris-Pantra wins atop Mont Ventoux ahead of Ben Healy in second, with Buitrago slightly gapped in third.
Yep.
What a stage for the breakaway.
I mean, when I saw Van Wilder, I was like, wait a minute. Where did he come from? I have not seen him all day. Where did he come from? And he just came up and just set the high pace. Honestly, if he wasn't there, I don't think they would have made it. I think Pogacar would probably beat him in a sprint, to be honest. But I think the most entertaining part for me about this entire stage, probably, well, in the breakaway, was that one moment where Ben Healy attacks. Wait. Paris-Pantra attacks first, and then Ben Healy attacks him straight afterwards. And I was just screaming, counter his counter the counter attack. He didn't, because he had just attacked himself, but man, I just like the way Ben Healy attacks as well, like just the way he looks when he attacks. It's crazy. But the breakaway, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I think Ben Healy looks a lot like Toad from Mario when he's on the bike with his massive helmet. Especially when he was in like the Irish national champions and he was like white and green. It looked like that sort of type of Toad. But no, I love the way Ben Healy rides and the way he like rocks on his bike and slow kick. He doesn't look like he's riding fast, but he's riding fast.
Yeah, exactly. Although when he attacks, it looks like he's riding faster than he does, I feel like. Because he's moving so much.
Yeah, I agree with that. So Paris-Pantra wins for Soudal Quickstep. And where have these two guys been for Remco Evenepoel? I've got to say it. Ever since Remco Evenepoel has abandoned the race, these two have been on job.
Yeah. Because like when he was there, I feel like he was out of teammates every single time at the end. I'm just like, if they just saved their energy, they're like, yeah, we know he's going to leave. It's so odd.
Yeah, tactically sort of tanked in the peloton so that nobody even looks at them when they're in the breakaway. But no, all eyes were on Healy, and Healy had to do most of the work. To be honest, I think he was the strongest of the breakaway guys on the day.
Yeah.
And it shows that he's having such a good tour. But at the end, Valentin Paris-Pantra had the power to weight ratio on the steepest percentages to pull away, overtake Healy, and take the stage win. And you mentioned Paris-Pantra and Healy attacking and counter-attacking.
Yes.
Further down Ventoux, we saw Tadej Pogacar and Jonas Vingegaard going at it.
Oh, we saw cinema, man. We were waiting for that Vingegaard attack, Kuss pacing for so long, and then he goes, you're like, yes. And I thought for a second he wasn't on, but Pogacar was in the wheel. And it was a long attack. Like, it wasn't just like a 2 second, 5 second. It was like a good 10 second of just pure pace. And of course he had both Tispino and Campanato in front, that very tactically well placed. Caught up to Tispino first, I think, right?
Yep.
And then he took the lead a little bit. Jonas got some air, went again, and brother, when I tell you I was not in my seat because I was in my bed, but I was sitting up in my bed. I was out
Shirt off.
Oh yeah, swinging around. I was just praying for the downfall, but it just never came, man.
It was the first time at this tour we've seen Pogacar even grimace.
Yes.
And that is a positive sign, I think, for the race. It may be miles too late but Jonas Vingegaard is back to his best, I think, on this Ventoux stage. We saw them attacking each other. Vingegaard put in more accelerations today than he has throughout the whole rest of this tour. He really threw everything he possibly had at Tadej Pogacar today. And I think even though he finished 2 seconds down in the end because Pogacar out-sprinted him, he's going to feel good about today, surely.
For sure. I mean, and also, once again, just solidifies how big of a difference there is between those two and everyone else. Like, it's just not even close. Because I believe behind, they were still putting in like a decent, consistent pace, while as in the end, Jonas and Tadej ended up, attacking, slow down a little bit here and again. And the fact that they still just got that far away from everybody else, there's levels.
Yeah, they were basically track standing at points, just looking at each other.
Yeah.
And the gap kept going down drastically and then stopping and then going down drastically again. So to summarise the stage, Paris-Pantra wins it ahead of Healy. Buitrago third on 4 seconds. Van Wilder, after his massive ride, MVP of the day arguably, 14 seconds down in 4th. Pogacar takes 5th place on the stage. Probably could have won it had he gone a little bit harder, or Jonas went a little bit harder and they didn't look at each other. But fair play to both of them, because Vingegaard only finishes 2 seconds down, being gapped in the final sort of 10 metres really by Tadej Pogacar. In 6th, Enric Mas 7th from the breakaway with Alaphilippe, good ride, 8th, 1 minute 17 down. Primož Roglic, 9th place for Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe. 1 minute 51 down, 2 seconds ahead of Lipovic, but clearly waiting for the German.
Indeed, he didn't look too troubled at the end, Roglic. He was sort of just riding a little bit in front of Lipovic, but didn't look like he went all out right there. So that's intriguing.
I think he's one of the most inconsistent riders at this tour.
Yes.
Like, one day he'll have an absolute shocker, and the next day he'll be right back on his best level.
Yeah.
And today was the latter of that. And I think he could have took serious time in the general classification if he'd have not waited for Lipovic. I think he'd have taken 20 plus seconds, probably been up there with Alaphilippe.
I agree for sure. We also talked about yesterday what the time would be of Pogacar jumping or going up the climb. You said 47, I think.
I don't remember. I said something 7.
I just remember I said 45, which is kind of funny, because Vingegaard finishes at 44 minutes and 50 seconds. The event too, and Pogacar 44:48. So those who say I don't know ball, I know ball. That wasn't just a guess. Don't worry.
I mean, and with a slight headwind as well. That's crazy numbers from both of them, realistically.
Insane, man.
And do you think Vingegaard had as good a legs as Tadej Pogacar today, with him doing most of the pacing at the front on Ventoux?
I think he almost had better, to be honest, to a degree, because Tadej was sitting so much in the wheel, and I mean, I wrote it myself once again. Just want to keep mentioning it, and parts are like 13-14% where sitting in the wheel doesn't really do anything whatsoever. But there are parts that are like 6-4%, where sitting in the wheel still definitely gives you like some extra couple watts to play around with. So I do believe that Jonas did have slightly better legs if the climate kept going, but that's just my opinion. That's just a theory, a game theory.
I agree, to be honest. I think Pogacar played it perfectly himself. His team kind of let him down a little bit today.
Yeah.
With the likes of Sivakov not really putting in a big turn, Wellens going off the back very quickly as well. Yep. But I don't think Visma could have played it much better, really, with Campenaerts and Benoit ahead, setting up Vingegaard throwing all of the attacks he possibly could. Maybe he could have attacked on some steeper sections at times, but that's me really nitpicking. And I don't think you can decide when you attack at 185 beats per minute,
No.
And lacking in oxygen up Ventoux. So I have no right to criticise there. But I think Visma played the best possible race they could. It's just, I think, proof yet again that Pogacar should be winning this tour, because even when Visma have him on the back foot, he still recovers, gets back in the wheel, because he was really suffering, I think. I think that wasn't an act at all on that first attack.
Yeah, it definitely looked like it. He's a very much of a nose breather, not much of a mouth breather. Like straight off the first attack, he was breathing heavy through his mouth. You could see that. And a little grimace here and there. So I do think whatever it's the possible slight illness that he's mentioned, or maybe just a bad day, he definitely wasn't on form.
Other riders who may be on or off form, depending on what you think. Oscar Onley, 2 minutes and 29 seconds down. He looks to be losing this battle to Lipovitz. He and Lipovitz were together on a lot of the climb, and Lipovitz looked in trouble. But I think that's just the way that the German rides. And in the end, he gets a decent advantage on the Brit, who I think still has top 5 locked down. We'll discuss GC once we get to it. But Carlos Rodriguez, 15th, but will lose a position to Ben Healy in the general classification. Felix Gall, 3:33, after I hyped him up to be the man to beat for the podium. 3:33 down in 17th, not a good stage from him. Kevin Vauquelin, P20, paced in by his teammate, 3 minutes and 42 down. With Jordan Jaeger, once again, what is this guy doing? 4 minutes and 6 in 20 seconds. Continuing in the GC. But the big loser today, Tobias Harland Johannesson of Uno X Mobility, 5 minutes and 11 seconds down on the day. That's almost 2 minutes behind the likes of Gal, almost 3 minutes behind the likes of Onley and Lipovitz, more than 3 minutes even behind Lipovitz. It was a tough day for the Uno X man.
Yeah. You saw, you said something about him needing oxygen at the top?
Yes, yeah. Apparently, according to Torhushoft, who's their DS, he had some stomach issues or something. So, like, had a proper serious collapse before the line, or after the finish line, should I say, and required oxygen. He's all right now, but I think he might be suffering from some illness or whatever that might scupper his chances at advancing, certainly in the general classification. I think he's now just playing a game where he's just got to limit his losses from this point onwards and try and stay in that top 10. It's looking unlikely with the stomach issues that he's got, but we'll see how he recovers, and all the best to him in his recovery.
I agree. I do have one question though. We saw at some point during the climb, Simon Yates fell behind and then got back to the group just to stay at the back and then dropped without doing anything. Do you think that was some tactical master plan he was trying to cook up, or did he lack brain cells and oxygen and didn't think clearly?
I don't know what Simon Yates was doing today, I've got to be honest with you. I think both Yates brothers have not been fantastic, let's say, during this Tour de France. They've both been equally as bad as each other in terms of domestique work. But yeah, today especially, Simon Yates, what was going on there? Yo-yoing between the back of the peloton and just slightly off the back. And then actually going pop on his own. In the end, looking at the stage ranking, Simon Yates, Adam Yates finished 18th, which is not even that bad. I mean, considering like Pogacar dropped him miles ago. But Yates finished on the same time as Kuss, and Kuss was very clearly up the front, doing work for Jonas Vingegaard. So I've got no idea how Simon Yates is doing. And to be honest, with the way he's riding, I can't tell. Yeah,
like I think a Danish commentator said team classification, maybe. But they have Benoit and Kamlas in front, and I'm pretty sure they're leading it by quite a lot anyways. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, it feels like UAE are also going for it, because like Tim Wellens rode it into the line today. Of course, Adam Yates being up there with the likes of Felix Gall and Vauquelin is telling me that they might have an idea at team's classification as well, just to kind of spite Visma Lease bike, because in the team classification they lead it at the moment by a minute 43. Rebel Borhansgra incidentally on 39 seconds without even trying, I think. But of course they've got Primož Roglic and Florian Lipovic, so they have that two-pronged attack, and they're the only team left with that two-pronged attack in the general classification. And speaking of, Pogacar gaining 2 more seconds puts him now at 4 minutes 15 ahead of Jonas Vingegaard. Florian Lipovic, the only other rider within 10 minutes of the Slovenian, now in third on the general classification at 9:03. Osterrodli now 2 minutes and 1 second behind. But Primož Roglic is only 38 seconds behind Osterrodli.
Yep.
Do you see Roglic taking that 4th place, or do you see him going all in for Lipovic? I think Roglic is looking at his own chances now.
I think as well. I think Lipovic is strong enough on his own that Roglic won't be too worried about him. And probably Red Bull as well. That I think, they're aiming for a 3rd and 4th place. Because realistically speaking, if you're Red Bull before this tour, and you say, we get 3rd and 4th, I think they would be happy. Of course, probably a stage win as well, but they would appreciate. But 3rd and 4th in the GC, up against you-know-who, I think that's about all you can hope for.
Yeah, I think they'd shake your hand off for 3rd and 4th in the GC. Of course, stage wins would probably... Who is going to remember that Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe finished 3rd and 4th in GC at Tour this year? Probably not me.
No.
But yeah, I think 3rd and 4th they'll be happy with, and I think it shows, it's proof that Lipovic might be their man going forward, and that Roglic, despite his form in previous stages, is not showing it consistently enough at the moment to be that leader of the team.
How far, by the end of the tour, do you think 3rd place will be behind Tadej? If you just a guess.
I mean, last year...
Yeah.
What was the gap last year? I want to say it was... Because I was doing a bit of research in previous stages, and the time gaps on stage 13 or something ridiculous, I think it was after the time trial, the time gaps then between 1st and 10th were the same as it was between 1st and 10th through the whole of the 2024 tour. So if you exclude the big 3 last year, the gap between Pogacar and Joao Almeida in 4th was 19 minutes and 3 seconds. I don't think it'll be 19. It may be very close to that, though. I fear it might be sort of 16 to 17 minutes to Lipovic.
Yeah, I agree. I very much agree.
Especially with the way these two are going now, and Pogacar being given some stern competition at this point, that's probably going to make him ride harder. Yeah. Because it does feel like he's a little bit worried. I mean, we mentioned him wanting stage win on the Ventoux because he just seemed like he could win anything at the snap of the fingers at the moment. And that it's such a mythical climb and a mythical stage, and it being the only climb on the route, that Pogacar would want it. But in the end, it's another one that he's given to the breakaway. Is this a sign of concern from him, or can we read anything into that, or is that just the way the racing's going?
I think so, to a degree. I mean, we have talked about 3rd week Jonas before, that he just seems different than at any other point during the tour. And that, along with, I think, I've mentioned it so many times, but him possibly being ill, I think he's a little bit worried at this point. Although 4 minutes, but could lead Lewis. What was, I think Vingegaard gained, was it 2 minutes that 1 year? Or was it a minute and a half? Something like that. On one stage, which you never know will happen again. So
I think that's fair. And the battle between those two, I think, is going to push them both on, like we've seen in previous years.
Yes.
Where the level just goes up because they are both attacking and fighting each other and pushing each other to keep raising the levels. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a 2024-esque time gap between Pogacar and Florian Lipovic in 3rd. Other battles going on, Vauquelin 6th, Gal 7th. That's a minute and a half between those two guys, but I expect that to close throughout this tour. Elsewhere, Ben Healy jumps into 9th place. He is now only 51 seconds behind Tobias Harlan Johannesson in 8th. And honestly, if he keeps going in the breakaways, could trouble Vauquelin and Gal in 6th and 7th. But he can't be given too many 3 opportunities to go up the road can Ben Healy at this point.
Yeah, I feel like some of the GC are going to be looking at him and be like, nah, brother, you're not going anywhere this time. Uno X specifically, Decathlon as well, Arkea, they're like, nah, brother, you've had your time to shine. You stay right here.
Especially with the way he's been climbing as of late. I didn't see him as a mountain rider until he's this Tour de France, when he started. That stage in yellow was really bad. So maybe he can't do it over multiple climbs or like on the really hard stages. But he can climb, and I think he proved that today.
Indeed. And I've seen a lot of people, this is just back to the Jonas discussion, say that if we had Jonas from 2022, he would beat Tadej here. But statistically speaking, I have a tweet here. Jonas got the second fastest time up the Ventoux. I mean, just after Tadej today, with an estimated 6.5 watts per kilos. They're going 20. At some point, they went 32 kilometers an hour up Ventoux. That is insane. Like, what? So, he is most definitely back to his best, or at his best, just in general. So, I think we should start closing down the 2022 Vingegaard, especially considering back then he could not follow Pogacar's all-out attacks on like the hills and stuff like that, and he would have lost quite a bit of time in this tour already on that. So, if you do ask me, I think he's the best he's ever been. He's just been really unlucky with, I guess, 2 quite bad days is the only problem.
Yeah, I think we're back to seeing the Jonas Vingegaard that we've seen on other stages in previous tours. But yeah, his 2 bad days have really cost him in the general classification, at least for this year. Unless he can pull it back later on. But it's a great start to the third week. And in terms of entertainment value, this was probably better than any of the second week stages that we've had. Maybe barring the first one with Abrahamsen and Schmid sprinting for the line. That was a similar breakaway battle. But I think this one trumps it.
Yeah, with the added GC battle as well. If I were to rate it, I think I'd probably bump it up to a 9. Honestly, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Maybe a 9.5 even. In terms of the only thing that would have made it a 10, I think, is if there was like a killer blow from one of the two, and like just if Vingegaard were to have put like 30 to 40 seconds into Pogacar with like a last attack and he's just
10.
fully cracked, that would have probably made it a 10.
Yeah.
But in terms of entertainment value, Mass thinking he had it, Ben Healy then catching him up, and then from absolutely nowhere, after not seeing him all day, Ilan van Wilder coming from the top rope. That's just, it's pure cinema of a stage.
It
and
is.
This actually might be an advert to just do one climb, just whack it at the end of the stage.
Yeah, just keep doing this, man. Keep doing it.
Definitely won't get boring and dull.
No,
if we do it over and over again. But no, the green jersey classification keeps on moving the way of Tadej Pogacar. And we haven't even mentioned this because the stage was so good. Abandon Mathieu Van Der Poel.
Yes.
So, which pushes Biniam Diamine to third. I'm sure he'll be happy about that, but in all honesty, he is not catching the top 2. Tadej Pogacar on 240. Jonathan Milan's got 11 points advantage. Today was not a good day for him. He needed to be in the break for that intermediate sprint. It was pan flat until that point.
Yeah, he had to, man. He had to get those 20 points. This is looking really bad for him at this point. Because, next stage is a flat one. Maybe wind. Possibly. Depends. But you can be able to get points there and then you sprint. But there's still, like, so many more stages that Tadej can win and gain points on. It's not even funny. So I think I'm going to declare Tadej the winner of the green jersey right here, right now.
I think I'm going to follow you with that. Even though you mentioned that tomorrow might be a flat stage, I can see, because Milan and Merlier have had such a grip on the sprints, and so many teams are going to get desperate that they're running out of stages for a stage win. I mean, this was Quick-Step's 4th victory at this Tour de France. and UAE have already sealed 5. So that's nine of the 16 stages that have gone to 2 teams.
Yeah.
So as a result, teams will be worried. I'm thinking the likes of Intermarché Wanty. I'm thinking the likes of Total Energy. Some of the smaller teams will be very concerned that they've not won a stage as of yet. And I reckon that they will pack the breakaway tomorrow, which will be troubling for Little Trek. If I'm a Little Trek domestique, I'm not looking forward to tomorrow's stage because I'm going to have to control a massive breakaway, I think.
Yeah, that's going to be... I'm going to wish him good luck, I think is all I'm going to say.
Speaking of control, though, Pogacar's back in the King of the Mountains jersey.
Oh.
Level on points with Lenny Martinez, 60 points each. And actually, this is arguably more entertaining, I think, than the green jersey battle, because I think Martinez can still do this. There is still an ounce of hope in me that's on the stage to Col de la Loze. Lenny Martinez gets in the break, takes the Col de Madeleine and the Col de Clandon. He looked like he was saving himself today. Went out the back of the peloton with a bit of a mechanical. But Timo Aaronsman also was involved in the break today and is on 48 points. I think he might have cooked himself today, though. If he'd have got to the line and taken the 20 points, he'd have been 8 points clear at the top of the King of the Mountains classification, which would have thrown him back into contention for the polka dot jersey. But I think this is just Martinez against Pogacar, do you think?
Yeah, I think that's gotta be. Unless Visma end up just destroying the race straight away on the Col de Loze stage and making sure there's no breakaway. Make it a 1v1 right off the bat. That's the only issue I could see that could hinder Martinez in really having a shot. But he's going to go for it regardless, and I pray he's going to get it.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to get captaincy on Col de la Loze stage, which is crazy considering who I've got now. But approaching the getting actually onto the fancy team side of things.
Oh yes.
How have you done? Because youth classification we've already done. It's kind of the GC. Generally, Lipovitz 2 minutes on 1 on Onley, 4 minutes 17 on Vauquelin in third, Healy fourth, 8 minutes 49. Bang, white jersey done. Fancy teams. Let's talk.
There we go. All right. I've done okay today. You know, I captained Vingegaard. Both Vingegaard and Pogacar giving me around 400 and something points in total. Castrillo not doing anything. Fred Wright, I guess, was in the breakaway at some point, I believe. He gave me 69 points. And Lenny Martinez, 27 for the polka dot jersey mostly. Liv Woods, 127 as well. And then we once again have Johannes and Rickard just sort of there. So I think it's a decent day on the office for sure. 687 points in total.
Nice job indeed, but I can one-up you on that. I would like to, first of all, thank Mathieu Van Der Poel for his services. 1 stage in the team, 1 captaincy, 204 points on stage 15. Straight out of the team for stage 16 when I saw that he was not starting. And it meant that I could do some changes. So I got rid of Tom Schoens. Great decision because he was in the breakaway today for Little Trek. So he ended up getting probably some nice points. I actually haven't looked to see how many points Schoens in particular got. But out went Van Der Poel and out went Schoens, which meant I had enough money to bring in Tadej Pogacar and Jonas. So now I've got Tadej Pogacar and Jonas Vingegaard on the same team, similar to you, with Lipovitz. And then, I got rid of... in fact, I got rid of Schoens for Jegat to begin with. And then I panicked and changed Jegat because I was going to get Pogacar. So in came a 7-star rider that I just kind of thought would be the guy that could get me the least worst points. So Emil Vestrina got in the team for Alpecin Koenig. He got me 5. That's fine by me.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, he's just being used as a terrible rider to free up some budget. Johannesson on 2, already on Peripantra on 8. It's not sounding too good for my team. But Lenny Martinez on 27. Simone Velasco for a starter in the breakaway today, in that leading group for 121 points. Lipovitz on 127. Jonas Vingegaard 169. Tadej Pogacar with my stage winner bonus 302 points for a total of 761. I will take that and run home.
Damn. All right. We have quite a similar team, honestly, at this point. We both have Lenny Martinez, De Woods, Vingegaard, Pogacar.
Johannesson?
Yep, also him.
Yeah. So only actually 3 of our riders are.
Yeah, just Fred Wright, Chris Rilio, and Rickard, I guess.
Might have to vary it up. I mean, I've only got 1 transfer left.
I have
with
a couple. I think I have 4.
So I'm kind of hoping and praying that everybody stays in the race from this point onwards, and nobody abandons. Please, Emil, do not get what Mathieu Van Der Poel's got. Hopefully, you hadn't been around him on the rest day and caught whatever disease he's picked up. But no, tomorrow's stage looks like a potential chance for the likes of Emil Verstringer. Does it not, Lucas?
I mean, I'm currently thinking of maybe buying Milan just for tomorrow and then selling him again. But I'm just, the breakaway possibility, I don't know if it's worth it. But yes, it looks like a chance for a lot of stuff, actually.
161 kilometers, starting in Bolène, ending in Valence. 2 Category 4 climbs, the Col de Pertuis and the Col de Tatigi.
Yeah,
I'm guessing. Sound confident, and that's how we get through. So in the end, this looks like a sprint stage and it looks like a flat finish. But I'm concerned that there are going to be many teams that want this to go to a breakaway. And after all of the sprint stages that we've not seen a breakaway go, this is going to be the last moment of panic, I think, for everybody, because who knows what the Paris stage is going to throw up.
Yeah, I'm sort of assuming, though, at least Lautrec, they'll probably be pacing hard until the first minute sprint, and then might let someone go after, like if they feel like it's going to be too hard to pace all the way to the line. But I'm also feeling a breakaway, and who though? I don't know. That I'm clueless about quite right now. Yeah,
first sort of 10-ish kilometers, slightly uphill, so they contribute to having the early attacks go up the road. So it's going to be difficult for Lidl to control.
Yeah.
The intermediate sprints at 48k, it's going to be tough to use. They're going to have to use the whole team, I think.
Yeah.
Simmons, Stroins, etc. Stuyven, Nice, everybody is going to have to be involved in controlling this breakaway, because the intermediate sprint is kind of just too far out to do what Intermarché did on that one stage where they controlled it for like 12k, got to the intermediate sprint, thank you very much, take the minor placings with Girmay and move on. So I think Lidl will have trouble controlling. Again, it's the last day for the non-mountain riders, really, unless they have eyes on the Champs-Élysées stage. But again, I just don't know how that stage is going to play out. This one you can have a little bit more control with, I guess.
Yeah. I'm going to throw my pick out there again. I've said him like 4 times through his entire tour. I haven't seen his ass 1 time. Kasper Askren to somehow make his way to winning the stage. Is he in the tour? He must be in the tour, right? I'm pretty sure he is.
Yes, he is.
Okay, got it, because I haven't seen him once.
I am going to have a look down the list at Astana, because these guys are looking at UCI points, and a man who I have not seen, and I'm looking through his results, has not been in the breakaway so far this Tour de France. Mike Turnison, good sprinter, but not good enough to trouble Milan and Merlier. And because of that, I think if I'm Astana, I'm throwing him in the breakaway with the likes of Fedorov, with the likes of Ballerini. I'm trying to get as many riders in that move to have a chance at a Tour de France stage, which Astana do not have right now. So I'm going to go Mike Turnison, who was my backup pick on the preview pod. But I don't see Fred Wright after his breakaway today getting involved.
No, unfortunately not, for my fantasy team.
Anyway, that was the roundup of Mont Ventoux, another mythical stage on a mythical climb, Lucas.
Yep, and we're looking straight forward to next stage, but also especially the Col de la Luz, to see if Tadej Pogacar goes cold on Col de la Luz, which he will do. Thank you all for tuning in to today's episode of the Wheelie Good Podcast. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, 5 stars, all that great stuff. And we'll see you all tomorrow with a little aftermath of stage number 17. See you.